هذا مما لا أعلم فيه خلاف بين العلماء المعروفين. The Shaykh of Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah says, this is something which we know without a doubt of any opposition from the scholars, of the well-known scholars of Tawheed. And this is a mas'ala ijma', consensus and understanding of the nusus of the Kitab and Sunnah, that it has to be taken down. Yasir Qadi, he goes on to say that Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, he does not make takfir, and he does not take this mas'ala in such a level like Muhammad Abdul Wahhab. But Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab, when he bulldozed the graves of Al-Baqi, he did not demolish the graves. He demolished the buildings over the grave. Why? Because this mas'ala was a mas'ala of ijma', a consensus since generations. And how did they derive this consensus among the scholars of Shafi'i wa Hanabila wal Hanbaliya wal Hanafiya? How did, according to hadith which we are reading now? And they said that izalatu wa bihadam wa ghayrihi, by doing demolishing and taking them off, whether it be the buildings over the graves of the prophets, or be the buildings over the graves of the righteous, or buildings over the graves of the kings and or queens. And the people of Tawheed, they are very strict on this. Barakallahu fikum. Now, and he also says, مِمَّا لَا أَعْلَمْ فِيهِ خِلَافٍ, I do not know any khilaf and opposition on this matter. وقال ابن القيم, Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, from the student of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, says, يجب هدم القباب التي بنيت على القبور. It is wajib and obligatory to take down the domes which has been built over the graves. لأنها أسست على معصية الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم, because it was built upon disobedience of the Prophet. Why? Because it was built upon the disobedience of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, which means that's the disobedience of Allah Azza wa Jal. That's the reason we need to take it down. وقد أفتى جماعة من الشافعية بهدم ما في القرافة من الأبنية. And the ulama of Shafi'i in Egypt at that time, the ulama of Shafi'i, because Shafi'i is Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah ta'ala was in Egypt, and it's Egypt is Shafi'i. And the ulama had given fatwa, of the Shafi'i ulama had given fatwa to take down the buildings of the graves in the graveyard of Qurrafa. That's in Misr, that's in Egypt. Min al-Abniya. Minhum Ibn al-Jumayzi. From which scholars? Ibn al-Jumayzi, والظهير الترمنتي وغيرهما. وقال القاضي ابن كج, from the ulama, he says, ولا يجوز أن تجصص القبور. It is not allowed to plaster the graves. And these are scholars, we have already talked about Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, talked about Ibn al-Qayyim, talked about al-Jumayzi, والظهير, all of the ulama from different madhahib. Ibn Kaj says, وَلَا يَجُوزَ أَن تُجَسَّصُوا الْقُبُورِ. It is not allowed for us to plaster the graves. وَلَا أَن يَبْنِ عَلَيْهِ الْقُبَّابِ, and not even allowed to make domes over it. وَلَا غَيْرَ قُبَّابِ, and not even without the domes. وَالْوَصِيَّةُ بِهَا بَاطِلَةٌ. And if a person makes a wasiyah and makes a will that after I die, you make dome over my grave, that wasiyah, that will should be thrown away, because it is nullified, it's batil, it's false.